without question, the Rocky franchise is by far the franchise I have had the most requests to do. So, with the release of Creed 3, it is time to stop and rank all 9 Rocky and Creed movies from the worst to the best. And if you have seen all of these movies, why don't you go down to the comments and share your ranking of all 9 Rocky and Creed movies? And with that, let's get started. In last place would have to go to Rocky 5. This is easily the weakest movie and packs the lowest punch. The plot is so boring and generic. I mean, just the stuff in here is absolutely bananas bad. It just really feels so boring and so one-dimensional at the same time. The father-son relationship between Rocky and his son is also really bad. Just the way that it's handled is also even worse. That's something that I really did not agree with, but just the way that this plays out, the final act is also really not very entertaining at all, and just overall, this is a really bad movie that I really don't like. Now, number 8, we're gonna go with Rocky Balboa. Now, this is a pretty hot take. Now, before you leave, you guys are thinking about leaving out. You're thinking about leaving, unclicking that subscribe button, unsubscribing from my channel, and getting out of here. Now, before you do that, just let me explain. Rocky Balboa, it's still I feel like it was good at, like, doing things like catching Rocky 5, so it actually ended the franchise on a high note instead of a low note like Rocky 5 did. I just never really agree with some of the stuff they did. Like, that person that Rocky walks with in 1978, just the fact that they make her because that was probably around the time that, actually, no, it was made in like 1974, I think, the original. But anyway, that they decided to make her a main character in this. That I never really agreed with that. I never really liked that. The fact that Adrian dies off screen, I think it was women's cancer, and just some of the stuff I don't really agree with. And just a movie that, in general, I can't really agree with, but I don't have the same hate for it that I have for Rocky 5. Okay, next up, I'm going to go with Rocky 2. Rocky 2 is probably the most controversial on this list, and the one they usually would switch up depending on what mood I'm in. And in the mood I'm in right now, and usually I'm in, Rocky 2 would most likely be close to last place. Now, I don't have, like, some of the hate for it that some other people do. Like I know that it does, like, try and rehash some plot points of the first. It's just not as entertaining as the original. It's still a good movie, just by no means as good as the original. I feel like the final act, it was just like Rocky, he just, like, wins. I mean, we didn't already need that. We already saw that. So we already didn't need that. We wanted something new. That's one of the things Rocky 3 did. It gave us a new movie. And speaking of Rocky 3, because now we're going to go to Rocky 3. Because Rocky 3, one of the good things I love about the Rocky franchise is, like, the workout things. Rocky 3, that's one of my favorite parts about it, especially the Eye of the Tiger song. That's one of my favorite parts about the entire movie and entire franchise in general. All of the training montages are also good. And the fact that every single movie, all the way up until Rocky 4 when they scrapped it, was so they would grab the first 5 minutes of the previous film and play it for the opening scene of the next film. So Rocky 3, the thing it did in the beginning of the movie, it took the first 5 minutes of Rocky 2 and it showed it, just to be clear. That was cool. And I believe that actually worked really well until Rocky 4 stopped that. And also, it's also a really solid addition to the franchise. The bromance between Carl Weathers' Creed and Sylvester Stallone's Rocky is amazing. And as Rocky being one of my favorite characters of all time in movies, this is a really amazing movie. Now, bringing us into the top 5, we have Creed 3. Now, one of the things that kept this below Creed 2 and 1 was the fact that Sylvester Stallone wasn't in it. Now I know some people were wanting that Creed to just be the main show and not have Sylvester Stallone stealing the show. I disagree. I liked I liked having both of them as the main character. If not, I actually liked Rocky more in Creed than I actually liked Creed, because I love both of them, but they're Rocky's like one of my favorite characters of all time. But still, just the way that Rocky's just missing and they don't give anything. The only actual nod we get to Rocky is when they're talking about a fight taking place with the main villain, and they're actually saying people showed up to the fight between Creed and Rocky. People are still talking about it today. That's like literally the only time in the entire movie that they actually say Rocky's name. They basically just ignore him the entire movie. I mean, wow. Just something that I couldn't really get into, but I still enjoy a lot of this stuff in the movie. Okay, number 4, Creed 2. Now, Creed 2 is also a movie that usually depends. It depends on like what mood I'm in. Now this movie is a really solid movie. Now, the way that they brought back Drago, I thought that was good and entertaining, and how Drago's son is now facing against Creed, and just Sylvester Stallone interacting with Drago. Just some of that stuff is cool, and the way Creed now feels like he has to defeat Drago's son because Drago killed his father, and he always hated Drago for that, and also Rocky, same thing. He always hated Drago for that. That was a really thing. That was something I really enjoyed in it, and just something that when I look for a movie like that, like the revenge thing, Rocky 4 is a revenge movie, and I think Creed 2 is as well, you could say. But this is overall an amazing movie, and that is wow. It just leaves me really speechless to what they did. Okay, bringing us to the top 3, we have Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is... Now, some people may put this one on the bottom. The Rotten Tomato percentage on this is easily low. It has like a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it is the second lowest in the franchise, with Rocky 5 having a like 31%. So there are a lot of really good reviews about it, but I still don't know why. But we're talking about Rocky 4 here, so... Rocky 4, a lot of things people don't like about it is like the fact that you in the poster you actually see Rocky winning, so you actually know that he wins, so it gives off the entire story. There are a lot of movies that do that, like Revenge of the Sith did that. There are a lot of movies. But I really enjoyed this. The fact that Rocky goes off for revenge against Drago because he kills Apollo Creed, I really enjoyed that. The fact that Drago's doing all this because his parents are like abusive and thing. This is really good stuff. And just the way that Creed is killed is really good, and he's killed in a fight, and this was actually legal. You think to yourself, you can come in that ring, but you also may not come out. It's really amazing to think. It's really amazing to think about how some people were feeling about that, like the way that just as soon as Creed drops, and the way Rocky just like he immediately just runs up there, it makes you feel like no, he's dead. Like the first time you watch, you're like, no, are they actually gonna kill off one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise? And then you realize by the next part, yep, they killed him off. He's dead. And wow, just an amazing movie that is so great. Now, our runner-up has to go to Creed. Now, most people would put this in number 1, and I know a few people that actually have put this in number 1. I am not exactly there. This is more of a legacy sequel than an actual movie that is better than the original. Because this is both worse than the original, yet better than the original in some ways. Like, the way that the like father-son relationship between Creed and Rocky, that's better than some of the things in Rocky. Meanwhile, some of the things that were worse were like the villain, the execution. Not exactly the best. The runtime could have been a bit too long, but I still do like it for it. It's my favorite of the Creed movies. And this is easily one of my favorite It's easily one of my favorite sports movies. My favorite's definitely Rocky. Also, The Blind Side's a good one. There's Creed. There's Karate Kid. There's a lot of really good sports movies out there. But this one, it just Michael B. Jordan. This is a really good movie. He's known to be in a lot of really good movies. Like there's Creed. There's Black Panther. Creed 2, Creed 3. Shall I go on? Although he's had some pretty big misses like Fantastic Four, 2015. Luckily, he had Creed to recover from that. Or, yeah. But coming in first place has to go to Rocky. This was made in the 70s, so this is probably... This or Star Wars has to be my favorite movie of that decade. This is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. It has one of my most favorite third acts. Like, the way that it's handled is so good. And just the way that he defeats Creed and then the music starts blaring and the movie's over. That is so good. Such an entertaining ending. And you just fall in love with it from beginning to end. You realize this is an underdog who's actually out overpowering this amazing machine. And it's so good. And you really enjoy this. So this is easily one of my favorite movies. And for this reason, it comes in at number 1. Thank you guys for watching this. If you guys would like more rankings like this and you are seeing this right now and you're not subscribed, I highly suggest clicking that subscribe button so you can stay tuned for all my latest rankings. And see you guys in my next video. Have a good one.